We will now move on to our next session titled Innovation and Startup. Proper understanding of Australia's technological and scientific capabilities serves as a fundamental step for Japan and Australia to deepen our collaboration as partners in this age of technology. The science and technology policies of the United States could further elevate Australia's global standing. What actions should Japan and Australia take together to address the world's challenges? I would like to invite all our esteemed panelists to join on the stage. Let me introduce our panelists. So Gabrielle Munzer, partner, Main Sequence Ventures. Ted Yamamoto, founder and general partner, WASEDA University Ventures. Mikio Kawahara, partner and CIO, UTokyo IBC. And Susumu Handa, CEO, Daiwa Capital Markets Australia. We are honored to have such an impressive lineup of industry leaders with us today. But first, we are pleased to begin with a keynote address from Mr. Toyo Abe, Executive Managing Director, Daiwa Securities. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abe.
Yeah, good afternoon, distinguished guests, colleagues, and partners. I'm Toyo Abe, Executive Managing Director of Daiwa Securities. It is a great honor to be here today, and I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to Nikkei. Daiwa Securities Group was established 123 years ago, and we are a leading financial institution in Japan. We are deeply committed to a unique and collaborative approach we call the co-creation model. This model enables us to create new value by working together with government bodies, academic institutions, startups, and large enterprises to address global challenges. We support startups through our strong network of strategic alliance. On the left side of the slide, you could see our alliance partners. We have alliance with Japanese leading university, University of Tokyo and WASEDA University. Both have venture capital arms, UTokyo, IPC, and WB, represented here today as panelists. And we have joint venture capital fund with Sony. On the right side, you will find our close partners, including government agencies such as METI and Ministry of Defense. In the middle, our group entities, including Daiwa Corporate Investment, our venture capital arm, and Daiwa Capital Market Australia Limited are actively engaged in the initiatives. Especially, Daiwa Capital Market Australia Limited is leading startup ecosystem collaboration between Australia and Japan. In Japan, the number of startups is growing to about 25,000 in 2025, and about 1/5 is startups from universities. The number grows because first, the new government institute called Startup Development 5-Year Plan, released in 2022. Second, the new VC fund and enough investment supply. And third is the new initiative by university and the students' mindset changes. The point is that Daiwa has a broad access to these startups in Japan. In addition, we are Japanese leading independent financial institution, and our investment banking team could access to almost all of 4,000 listed companies. Our solid Japanese network is the value for Australian corporates and startups. Over the past decade, the Daiwa Innovation Network has hosted 246 events. In 2021, we co-hosted Daiwa Innovation Network Australia with JETRO, connecting Australian clean tech startups with Japanese corporates. This online event attached over 200 participants from Japan and marked a significant milestone in cross-border innovation. Finally, I would like to highlight our strong and growing commitment to bridging the startup ecosystem of Australia and Japan. Since 2021, we have been collaborating with Main Sequence Ventures, a government-backed Australian VC fund, and became an investor of Main Sequence in 2023. We are proud to be the first and only Japanese corporate to invest in a major Australian VC fund. As you may know, but Main Sequence is the largest deep tech VC fund in Asia Oceania, managing $1 billion Australian dollars with 70 portfolio companies, more than 10 of which are actively engaged with Japan. Last year, we co-hosted the Australian-Japan Deep Tech Forum with the Australian Embassy in Japan, in Tokyo. The event featured Main Sequence and 5 Australian startups, alongside METI, 3 major Japanese VC funds, and 3 university-backed VC funds. Today, we look forward to a panel discussion on cutting-edge deep tech investment in Japan and Australia. We hope to explore a new avenue for collaboration and deepen the tie between our two innovation ecosystems. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abe, for setting the tone. We will now move into the panel discussion. Each organization will provide a brief overview of their organization. We will begin with Mr. Kawahara.
First of all, I want to, I'm very honored to be here, and I would like to express my gratitude to Nikkei and Daiwa Securities and all the stakeholders in the ecosystem to contribute to this opportunity. And the slide, please. The previous page. Yeah. So I want to describe briefly how UTokyo startup ecosystem has evolved in the past decades, 2 decades. And the UTokyo is one of the first university to provide the entrepreneurial education program in Japan back to more than 20 years ago. And today, at the UTokyo, we have many forms of the ecosystem offering, including the educational program, tech transfer offices. We have several incubation facilities inside the campus. And we have the external investor network, and also we have industry partnership as well. In the 2004, the National University Incorporation Transformation Act was enforced. And since then, universities started to change from being pure academics to being open to society and industry. And at that time, UTech, another UTokyo affiliate venture capital was launched, and as a private independent investor, and the number of the startups since then have a steady increase, as you can see in the chart. And from those basic initial achievement, in 2015, the University Innovation Fund Act was enforced, and the UTokyo IPC, which stands for the Innovation Platform Company, was launched. And since then, you can, in this chart, you can see the steady increase of the amount invested to the UTokyo startup at the accelerated rate. So that's what happened in the past. And I have to mention that the Teto-san sitting next to me, former UTech partner, is one of the key persons which behind those achievements. Next slide, please. So right now, UTokyo IPC is the private company, but the shareholder is 100% UTokyo. We are operating 3 funds, and the numbers you can see in the slide. The AUM is around the $400 million. And we are focusing on the investment in the deep tech startups. A third is a field of the biotech, medical devices, and the diagnostics. And a third specializes in the hardware, such like robotics, semiconductor, laser companies, or space. And the last third goes to the AI and AI startups. And each fund have different focuses. The first fund was established in 2016, and the focus is collaboration with the venture capitals around the universities. This combines the fund of funds to venture capitals and also direct investment to the startups. In the second fund, we are focusing on nurturing the partnership with the industries and making investment in the early stage startups, including the company creations. And the third fund is very unique in the sense that this fund, the anchor investor is the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, local Tokyo government. And they plan to replicate the UTokyo model across Tokyo and all around Japan. And they eventually plan to invite more global startups and global investors to Tokyo. So, and we invest in the venture capitals who invest in the academic deep tech startups all around Japan, not just in Tokyo, and to connect to the global market. So next slide, please. Alongside those investment activities, we offer a cutting-edge incubation program called First Round. We started this program just within UTokyo 8 years ago, and now we have expanded to 25 universities and academia all around Japan, including private schools and also basic research organizations. This program is backed by the 23 corporate partners who are eager to conduct the early proof of concept project with the startups. This program is very unique in that we don't take anything from the startups, including this equity nor stock options. We just offer the support to the teams or startups, but provide in the form of the 6 months mentoring, the project budget for the POC project, and many other surrounding supports. And the teams are selected from more than 300 applicants in every batch. And these are the teams who haven't formed the startup yet, or the very young startup who haven't has raised from the external investors. And the final goal of this program is to make the first successful fundraising for startups. Okay, this is what we have done in the past, and for future, especially in the deep tech, the global is a key. So not just for future, we don't just focus on around the UTokyo, rather in Tokyo or Japan. Our focus is the global. And as you know, the deep tech is truly global by nature. So when I came to Australia last year as a first time, I'm really impressed by the level of the education and the research, and also the very high enthusiasm about the innovation and the startups. And the second time, I'm very fortunate to be here. And the third time, next time, I think that I really make it happen, the collaboration between the Australia and Japan, that's my aspire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kawahara. Mr. Yamamoto, could you explain about your WASEDA ventures?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ted Yamamoto from WASEDA University Ventures. This is my first time in Australia in my life, and I'm very thankful for Nikkei to organize this event and Daiwa Securities for inviting me to be here. This has been really, this is my 5th day, but this has been really eye-opening experience in Australia. So let me explain about WASEDA University Ventures, starting with the university. WASEDA University was established back in 1882. It's a private university, and it has a very strong social influence in Japan. The university has educated 8 prime ministers to the state, and also educated great entrepreneurs of companies like Sony and Samsung. The founders were from WASEDA. Based on this strong sort of background as a university with strong research, the university decided to set up a fund in 3 years ago, in 2022. I was asked to initiate the fund, and it became 87 million Australian dollar fund supported by great LPs like Daiwa Securities. And we are set to commercialize mainly the research seeds we see in WASEDA, but we are not capital. We see we can invest, and we have invested seeds coming from other universities and even overseas. To this date, we invest in 11 companies. We plan to do one more, and that will complete the portfolio of this initial fund. And for that fund, my background is I'm a 28 years VC veteran. I've been doing this for a long time, focusing on deep tech space. And as Kawahara-san mentioned, prior to establishing the UWB, I was working for a firm called UTech, which is a fund affiliated with the University of Tokyo for 12 years. And I was fortunate to be able to work commercializing research into business with the university. And as Kawahara-san mentioned, UTech, together with the University of Tokyo, was able to produce great successful companies that transformed actually the culture of the University of Tokyo, making faculty and students very entrepreneurial minded. So people, most of the brightest students and faculty are thinking about opportunity to start new companies. And through that effort, I was fortunate to be ranked #1 as a VC on the Forbes Japan's Midas list 5 years ago. And now I'm doing the same thing at WASEDA University. I'm hoping through all the cases we sort of generate towards success, that could again transform the culture at WASEDA University to become even more entrepreneurial, and I believe that will change the Japanese society as a whole. If you go to the next slide. So as WASEDA University Ventures WB, we follow these 3 principles. First is practical application of scholarship, which is part of the founding mission of the university. This is basically meaning we convert the research into the benefit in the society, right? That's what we are aiming to do through these investment activities. And the second point is that we work from the company creation phase. So we don't expect the professors, researchers to come up with the business plan by themselves, but we go to the researchers, trying to find an interesting breakthrough research, and then through discussion with the researchers, we think about the business plan together and put it down as a plan, and then we go out and recruit entrepreneur, business entrepreneur, to be working with the researcher. Otherwise, we don't want and expect the researcher to become a business entrepreneur. We'd love to have someone capable of doing that and keep the researcher engaged in doing good research. Right? And once we have the plan and people on board, and if things make sense, we incorporate a new company and make investment. And then we like to, through the product and service and business we build through these companies we generate, we like to obviously contribute to the humankind and planet. If you go to the next page. So practical application scholarship, we do cover the usual STEM subjects like physical science, life science, information science, and we sort of convert all this research into better tools for humankind. But beyond making better tools for convenience, we like to pursue better sort of life for people. How to use these tools, right? And then make sure we have a sustainable planet. Not making the tech destroying the planet, but rather save the planet. How to use the tools for better life and safer planet. In addition to STEM subject, WASEDA has a stronger social science and humanities research. So I'm thinking beyond just deep tech. Country very interested in how to drive innovation out of humanity and social science space, because that's a uniqueness of WASEDA, and achieve deep humanities. That's what I'm trying to advocate right now beyond deep tech. If you go to the next slide. Yeah, I think I can explain the example of the companies at the later part of this session, but that's the overview of what I'm doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yamamoto. Now we will hear from Ms. Gabrielle.
Do I do the whole slide deck now? Okay, just the overview. Thank you very much for having me here today. So thank you to Nikkei and thank you to Daiwa for bringing us all together, a close partner of Main Sequence. It's really valuable to have forums where we can bring together the research ecosystem and industry for such valuable collaboration. And I'll tell you a little bit about Main Sequence now. Thanks, Steve. Main Sequence was essentially co-founded by the National Science Agency of Australia, known as the CSIRO, Commonwealth Scientific Industrial Research Organisation. And we were essentially born because for many, many decades in Australia, our research has been very highly ranked. We're top decile globally as a research ecosystem, but in many fields of scientific inquiry, we're ranked in the top 1% globally on the one hand, and then on the other hand, for those same decades, we have ranked very poorly in terms of our ability to commercialise this research. And so our venture capital capability is all about addressing this gap of research translation in Australia. And we were first seeded with $100 million of capital from the federal government back in 2017, and we immediately matched that with capital from the market. Fast forward to today, we now have 3 funds under management for a total of just over $1 billion Australian dollars, and most of the capital is now sourced from the private markets. So it is a combination of offshore sovereign wealth funds, pension funds and local super funds, wealth groups, and some strategic corporates, which includes Daiwa, who've been a very close partner with us for many years and invested in our recent fund. Because we were born and co-founded by the National Science Agency, we are very deeply embedded in the research ecosystem here in Australia. And so every investment we make is into companies that are deep tech, which we would define as companies that have novel science or engineering innovation really at the core of the company, that's the thing that gives it its competitive edge. And every investment that we make has some link to publicly funded research in this country. And that can look like lots of different things. We've done many spin-outs from research organisations, but also commissioned R&D and collaborated for grants. Across our portfolio of 70 companies, there's over 130 research collaborations with the science ecosystem here. Another feature of our work is that quite a lot of the companies are proprietary in the sense that they probably wouldn't be companies but for the fact that we came along, and much like Ted-san was describing, we have a model of company creation. We'll go into some examples later. For now, I'll just leave you with this slide, which shares the key global challenges that our investment capability seeks to address. So they're really the biggest fundamental challenges facing the planet. So decarbonise, feed 10 billion, bridge the gap to space, supercharge industrial productivity, reach humanity-scale healthcare, and enable the next intelligence leap. And across these themes, in this part of the world, we would be known as the most prolific investors in areas such as quantum computing and investing, semiconductors, robotics, synthetic biology, and space technologies.
Thank you, Gabrielle. And I'd like to hear from Ted Yamamoto about your impressions of your first trip to Australia and what have you found eye-opening?
My impression, I'm very impressed. I think I fell in love with Australia. Clean, safe, nice people, good food, and great research. And I met great investor, like-minded investor, main sequence. And great university, fully engaged in helping the innovation and startup to come out. Thanks to the arrangement done by Daiwa Securities. Again, this is my first time in my life to be here, but I would definitely like to come back. And next time, I would like to seek investment opportunity or create some companies together. So I've been working with the Japanese research ecosystem, but I've been investing in Silicon Valley, also in Singapore and UK. But I see more similar or even better opportunity here. Again, someone mentioned in the morning this little, basically same time zone, right? And it only takes 9 hours to fly here. And I face no jet lag. That's significant. So I see huge opportunity to do and create new innovation together, working in Australia and Japan. And I would like to get engaged the next time I visit here. So,
thank you, Ted.
Great country.
Thank you. After working as a senior bureau chief for 5 years back in Tokyo, I always had the impression that Australia should be known more in terms of science and technology and these very innovative approaches and the strengths of the research industries. What is your idea and impression, Mr. Kawahara?
Well, as I said, this is my second time in Australia in my life, and firstly, I had the same impression as Ted-san, and I already fallen in love with Australia. Including my last visit, I visited more than 5 top universities in Australia. I have met several venture capitals and investors here in Australia. I also visited many startups here in Australia. And I think I see, I'm very confident that the high quality of the education and the research, first of all, and it's very high. And I'm shocked that in the QS ranking, even though the UTokyo is in the 20s, Melbourne University, University of Melbourne, in the 20, under the 20. So I'm really sure that the research and education is very high, and at the same time, I also see the enthusiasm about the innovation and the startups. So I really believe in the partnership between the Australia and Japan that will come very soon, and I think that the precondition is already set. I also see many similarities between the Australian ecosystem, the Japanese ecosystem. And not like the Silicon Valley or China, I think that we have the many similarity in the ecosystem. And we need some backup from the government and some more friendly collaboration rather than in Silicon Valley or in China. They are more competitive in some sense. But I think that we can find another way to make a great partnership between in those countries. There's some mentioned about the Singapore or some other countries. Maybe we need new words to collaborate between those countries. In the previous session, someone said that the middle power. I'm not sure, with this middle power fits to the startup world, but I think that they're not just looking at the Silicon Valley or a startup in China. I think that we need the new words to describe the ecosystem in those middle countries. So that's what I really want to find in near future.
Does anyone come up with a new word so far? Okay. Now we will learn about examples of Japan-Australia collaboration presented by Ms. Gabrielle.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. So we have a couple of examples here of some of our portfolio companies that are doing interesting work in Japan and Australia. And the first company is Samsara Eco. Samsara Eco was essentially created through our model of company creation, which we call venture science. And it's a very particular way that we seek to bring companies to life with a deep understanding of what's required in frontier technology businesses. And essentially what we seek to do is to try and look for big challenges in industry, and then we go back into the corridors of the research ecosystem. I like to describe it almost as the truffle nose sniffing around for the best science we can find that can address these big challenges. In the case of Samsara, we were in touch with Woolworths, the largest retailer in Australia, and we knew that every year the biggest issue is the use of single-use plastic, essentially. And they commissioned a big global report to look at all of the existing technologies for plastic recycling, and essentially everything was downcycling, meaning that as you loop the plastic each time, it structurally degrades, it discolours, and in the end it becomes so poor in quality that you can only put a smaller and smaller amount of the recycled content into the next and the next item. And so we were looking for a way to create a plastic recycling technology that could be a truly infinite loop, and that is what has become Samsara. So we worked with Woolworths and brought them in as a co-founder of the business, and we found the best science capability at ANU in Canberra, Australian National University in Canberra, and essentially we were able to work with that research team to create an enzymatic approach to plastic recycling, which means that the looping can be truly infinite. The company is 3 years old. It has just made a very large announcement that it'll be also moving into the fashion industry, and Lululemon has announced that it will devote 20% of its global supply to be sourced from Samsara, which is a very large offtake agreement for the company. They're about to stand up scale facilities all through Asia. Kanematsu has invested with some very interesting plans for how this could evolve in Japan, and the company, as said, at only 3 years old, is now worth several $100 million. So I just offer to the room that if there are any representatives from Japanese corporates who have particular challenges that they're looking to solve and would like some help navigating the Australian research ecosystem, and what sorts of ways we might be able to help collaborate to address some of those corporate challenges, be very happy to engage. And then the second example, and I'll move a bit more quickly, is a company called Quantum Brilliance. I mentioned earlier that we invest a lot in quantum computing and sensing capabilities, and this particular company is all about building diamond-powered co-processors that can essentially operate at room temperature and outperform classical compute systems, therefore bringing to life the quantum opportunity much more readily. And in the case of this company, their belief is that diamond semiconductors, Japan is one of the global leaders in this space. There's been a lot of work already out of Fujitsu and Shin-Etsu and Hitachi. And so in many ways, they're already engaged in working with Japanese partners across the value chain. That's in terms of material sourcing and tooling and manufacturing. In terms of customers, they're already in touch with some of the large automotive and data centre and telecoms groups in Japan. In terms of IP and building out the portfolio of the frontier tech that sits behind Quantum Brilliance, they're working a lot with Kyoto University and a couple of the other research institutes in Japan, and they won a $1 million grant from Tokyo Metropolitan Government to set up their subsidiary in Tokyo. So there's just a couple of examples of the sorts of ways our companies are working in Japan.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Next, we'll learn from Steve Handa about the examples of Japan-Australia collaboration. Could you take?
Yes, thank you very much, and I am very glad to be here together with the great panelists and also moderator. And I would like to share a little bit about our ideas and initiatives of the ASEAN-Japan partnerships in the area of startups and innovations. And the concept is PPAP. What is that? Maybe most Japanese knows PPAP, but it is the public, private, and academia partnerships between Australia and Japan to create new values for global challenges. And we started initiatives to connect ecosystems between Japan and Australia since 2020, 5 years ago, as a pioneer in this space. And we found the importance of PPAP between two countries, Japan and Australia, to accelerate innovation itself and to reinvent higher education and to develop ethical technologies and also to share risks, which could overcome the many challenges from research, development, to the profitable business creation. Therefore, we have many initiatives. This is just examples, but as Mr. Abe explained a little bit about our event last year, the ASEAN-Japan Deep Tech Forum, together with ASEAN Embassy in Tokyo, Japan, inviting METI. And this year, we are tying up with Consul General of Japan in Melbourne, that Mr. Freya-san is very supportive, thank you so much, and to have the food tech event as well as the space tech and quantum tech event this week. And last week, we organized the ASEAN-Japan Decarbonization Tech event together with JETRO, inviting Consul General of Japan in Sydney and Tokyo Stock Exchange and startup companies from Japan and Australia. And these initiatives is pretty important. At the same time, we need to find the right partner, the reliable partner as main sequence. So it is quite important, especially in the area of new partnerships between two nations. We also collaborate with universities like the University of Melbourne and Monash University, RMIT, La Trobe, as well as UNSW. And we also have so many things together with CSRO, the National Research Institute. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Now, we'd like to hear some reflections from Gabrielle. What do you think about your partnerships with Japanese universities and your partnership with the investors like Daiwa?
Yeah, sure. Is it possible to put the slides?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our partnerships with Japanese collaborators thank you. I think there's a slide that's going to come up shortly, are vital to our work. Basically, the way we approach investing is that from day one, when we're putting capital into a business, it must necessarily have a global ambition. It must be a company that seeks to build and scale globally and have technology that is at the frontiers of what's happening globally in its field. It would be far too small to try and build venture-backable businesses in this country. So we very much come to our work from that mindset. And we do a lot of work in the US, but after the US, Japan is our most important partnering country, and increasing at quite a pace through our work with Daiwa. So across our portfolio, already 13 of our companies have very meaningful collaborations and partnerships in Japan now, and it makes a lot of sense. When we reflect on manufacturing in this country, it's now less than 5% of GDP. So we've lost a lot of our talent and our muscle here in manufacturing, and that is the polar opposite of Japan and the strength of the industrial belt there. So there's a very natural compatibility in our work. Across those companies, the collaborations can take many forms, but increasingly it's for knowledge sharing and transfer. And we're looking forward as we build more with Daiwa to doing more work with the universities in Japan as well. We are hoping over time to build out a capability that is more oriented towards growth capital as well and scaling our companies together. So that will, I think, bring to the fore more of those sorts of opportunities to work together and build stronger allegiances.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Now, I'd like to ask Ted Yamamoto to elaborate on the recent examples of the deep tech investment between two countries.
So, if you show the slide. So as I mentioned, since 2022, we created and invested in 11 companies, ranging from the usual, like quantum computing, diamond-based semiconductor. We have nuclear fusion company, life science drug discovery company, AI-based drug discovery companies. And out of that, I'm going to explain a few examples. Can we get the slide up? Professor Aoki at Waseda University, he was doing research around nanofiber cavity QED system. He wanted to create a quantum bit based on that novel system, realizing the combination of photons inside the fiber with neutral atoms around the fiber. And because this is connected directly to optical fiber, we believe this has a good fit with the future quantum networking sort of era, and we foresee to build companies like Cisco in this space. Professor Aoki wanted to create this company for a while. He'd been consulting with universities, but until we were launched, he couldn't get the company up. But what we did was bring in the entrepreneur. The person in the middle is Professor Aoki, the picture, but we are able to bring in the person on the right as a CEO, Dr. Hirose. He got his PhD from MIT in quantum sensing field, and then he joined and worked at McKinsey for 6 years. And he was looking for a new opportunity, And we were able to connect that person with the professor and decided to launch this company. We injected about 2 million Australian dollar for the initial launch money, as initial launch money. And since then, the company raised more than 10 million. They are undergoing right now the next round of financing, and also gotten government grants, I think totaling up to 40 million USD size. We initially launched this company as a Japanese entity, but we decided to embed the headquarters into US, so it has a US parent and with Japanese subsidiary. And in Japan, we are collecting all the quantum talents, the brightest one into this company, and we would go after acquisition opportunity in the future as a next exit for us. So this is some example of combining the researcher with the management talent and help them go out in the global market. And we do have, as I mentioned, other usual deep tech stuff here from most of all the deep tech people. But as mentioned, I'm trying to do a bit different things at WASEDA, utilizing the unique sort of research we have at the university. This example is a company called Pestalozzi Technologies, engaged in sports science-based business. They are gathering the physical fitness data of students because Japanese government is making it mandatory to take physical tests in elementary school and junior high school every year. I think this is only in Japan. So by collecting all this data, the company already have 3 million fitness data of these students. It's anonymized but individual fitness data every year. So you can track the changes of one sort of individual over the time. And we plan to expand this data gathering into adults and senior age people. And this will be a very unique data. No one in the world has this kind of data. And what we are planning to aim to do is evidence-based healthcare. Backed by data, so what kind of physical sort of fitness or sporting activity will result in healthier state or unhealthier sort of state down the road in future. And by sort of subscribing sports activities as a way to improve the health, I think is the next creation. Again, the thing was missing was the data, and this company has the data, and it's a very interesting sort of data. I would like to bring this company into Australia at some point, because I believe you have a very strong sports science related research and culture here as well. The next example, this is our most recent deal, is a political science-based company. The guy on the right, Professor Tepe Yamamoto, who recently came back from MIT. He was a 10-year professor there, but he's very famous for inventing a new way of survey method, combining conjoint analysis with his specialty of causal inference, and that became widely spread and accepted, adopted in the political science research space around the world, and we decided to commercialize this technology. We set up a company by inviting ex-IBM data scientists as a CEO. We injected again 2 million Australian dollar equivalent as initial capital in June this time. And the initial project was together with Nikkei. We used that or new survey method in conjunction with voting match application. It's a voting advice application where you sort of answer the survey, you find the most sort of or fitted political party they should vote on. It's a very interesting way to extract the value and or thinking of the voter through this tool. We use this with Nikkei. We provided this service in the past July month's upper house parliamentary election, and this was used by up to 1 million people already. So it helped people match with the right political party based on their sort of decision on various political agendas. But we see opportunity to expand this into other areas. In any situation of our life, we make a difficult decision. Buying a house, renting a house, or choosing a company you work for, or when you recruit people, maybe you decide on who to sort of partner with in your life, right? All these decisions, this new kind of survey method will be valuable, and we see huge opportunity here. So just example of deep tech is not only about quantum and all those stuff, but we are trying to create innovation out of other fields of science at Waseda University.
Thank you, Ted, for sharing such a wonderful and interesting examples. I tried that Nikkei app, and it matches me the most unexpected party. I thought I was a major supporter of one of the major party, but it came to the conclusion. I did try that app, yeah. So that's a really interesting new technology. And Kawahara-san, could you share some of your examples from the University of Tokyo?
Can you show this slide? I think that we have many successful cases. A few slides back, the last, here, this slide. So we have many cases in broad areas, such like biotech or IT, SaaS, AI, or fintech. But today, I want to touch on the space startup from UTokyo. So Professor Shinichi Nakasuka, he's definitely the pivotal figure. From his laboratory, his student started a new startup, and also he is very generous to support other space startups globally. In the examples include the astroscale, the sweep solutions for space debris, Synspective, it's a remote sensing satellite with synthetic aperture radar, and the third one is Axel Space. Those three startups are all IPC portfolio companies and small satellite startups. And fortunately, all three went public on the Tokyo Stock Exchange market in the past 2 years. And fortunately, Axel Space just went public last week. And I'm very proud to say that this kind of deep tech investment makes some good return in the end. When we did the actual investment a few years ago, skepticism around those investments surrounded the space startup investment. But this will be a good example that the deep tech investment eventually make a good return. And please don't forget that the deep tech investment takes time and money. And we definitely need a driving force to make this happen. So I really believe that the collaboration between the Australia and the Japan also needs some kind of driving force to make it happen. So I hope that this kind of, and maybe, Mogami case might be a good case for even for the startups to make the collaboration successful collaborations. So one of the case between the Australia and Japan collaboration is Synspective. Synspective is collaborating with the Gel Image. It's an Australian solution, image solution company. Now, they are providing Syspect have the capability to provide the daily sensing data every day, not just like once in a month. They can provide the daily data by forming the constellation by multiple small satellites. And then now today, they can have the capability to provide the daily data all over the Australia. So that is happening right now. And I think that a similar successful case will happen in future. That's what I believe.
How amazing. Thank you so much. We only have a few minutes to conclude, and I'd like to ask you to discuss about the future cooperation between two countries and two governments. So, towards what are the strengths of each side, and how can we best collaborate in this field of deep tech? Starting from Steve.
Thank you very much. And I would say, especially the Australian has a great capability to start new innovations and research commercializations, while the Japan has a great manufacturing capability. So that's why the deep tech sector is the most promising sector to collaborate with each other. So hopefully, the next years is quite important year between Japan and Australia. Therefore, we would like to announce new big initiatives, hopefully next year. Thank you.
Looking forward to hear that. So, Gabrielle, could you give us your ideas?
Yes, thank you. There is a slide, but it might be a bit late in the piece to bring it up. I'm not sure. Oh, thanks, Steve. We'll see if we can find it. In the meantime, I'll just echo Steve's excitement about what we might be able to build going into next year to formalise and reinforce some of the partnerships already underway. This slide, just for everyone in the room, starts to illustrate some of the ways that we think that Japan and Australia can bring together their mutual strengths. I'll just finish by saying I loved what Ted-san said around ultimately our work hoping to mean that, when you dare a technologist to slip on an entrepreneurial skin, that you can have over time a domino effect in society, and that we could hopefully work together to not only try and solve some of the really big problems facing the planet, but to also support the spirit of entrepreneurship in each of our countries.
Great, thank you. And Ted?
Yeah, so I believe innovation only comes out of trial and error, and it's just by doing things together. And the professor, researcher are basically the same kind of people. They're working on science, and they are usually very difficult people to deal with, even in Japan, US, everywhere the same. But we love those researchers, regardless of where they reside in. But again, it's important that we actually do try something out. I would like to try something out together with you in Australia, and or do something different. Right? I just don't want to do things the other people are doing, everybody's doing. Let's find out some very unique challenge to work together and create something new. And I think that's the way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Yamamoto. Lastly, Mr. Kawahara-san, your prospects for Japan-Australia cooperation and future actions?
Yeah, while I visited many and the talks with the Australian people, I found two opportunities, especially. The one is the early stage researches before forming the companies. Because once the investor like venture capital joined, the system makes things complex. So I think that to make a true collaboration, I think that the research collaborations between Australia and Japan might be a good opportunity. That's what I thought, one thing. And the other opportunity will be the cooperation with the more matured startups and companies. Because, to make things happen, we need the first win. and the first big success that are visible to the people. And I think that this kind of first big success will make the next 2 or 3 success in future. So I really want to make a big success, hopefully next year with Handa-san. That's my hope. And I'm not sure whether I will be here tomorrow, next year or not. but again, it takes time. Deep tech takes time. So I really confidence that it will happen anyway in near future. That's my confidence. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the panelists for making this really important discussion today. And we are really much looking forward to hear from you next year or earlier. And thank you very much for the support of Daiwa Capital Markets, Steve, and all the panelists. Please join me in giving them the thanks. Thank you.